Hi.
Thanks for coming here again. I see you were checking the muscular script. Do you like it?
I really like it. I think you've done a great job to make it the way it is.
It's actually your creation. So, Gert, structural osteopathy.
Yes.
This is a part of it, and we have listed three basic parts: muscular, lesion, and then the third was rhythm, right?
Rhythmic mobilization.
Rhythmic mobilization.
Rhythmical mobilizations.
Okay, can you tell us now briefly what are those parts? What are they? What place do they take in osteopathy in general? A short intro.
Well, if we talk about structural osteopathy, it's all about barriers, dysfunctional barriers in the movement. So osteopathy is working with the lesions. Lesions are the soft parts. So within a motion or within movement, you have some that it's more or less that it has got a weak aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite thing is that you have limitations or barriers within the motion, and these are the dysfunctional parts. And there are two places where the dysfunctions can be, and they can be in the extra-articular structures, so the myofascial structures, all about muscles, and they might be in or around, directly around the joints. And then we have at that point the aspect of here treating the muscular aspect, so the extra-articular aspect. Then we have in and around the joint the rhythmical mobilizational aspect, and we can do the thrusts, so the high velocity techniques. And if there are any kind of lesions, they might be in or in the joint or directly around or extra-articular of the joint. Then we have the lesional techniques. They are indirect. So it's more about positioning the body so that the tissues are able to release. And after the release, we can see if there are still some dysfunctional aspects to mobilize. And we do the mobilization with the other parts.
I see. Cool. What are those MAT and FR letters stand for?
Yeah. Well, muscular means we work with techniques that use muscular aspect and muscular actions, means contraction and relaxation, and that's the MET, the muscle energy technique part of it.
Muscle energy technique. Mm-hmm.
And we can stretch without action of the patient, and that is the myofascial release.
MFR.
MFR, myofascial release. We stretch the soft tissues around the joint so that the tissues can release and relax.
Do those other sessions or courses that we offer, the lesion and the rhythm, do they have also some specific methods to mention?
Yeah. Well, within the lesions, we have the so-called Sutherland technique, and the Sutherland technique, SUT, it was not developed by Sutherland, but Sutherland taught in a class the techniques of Andrew Taylor Still. So the original osteopathic techniques of Andrew Taylor Still, and they are named by the guy that showed it, Sutherland, but in fact it's the original Still technique. Mm-hmm. And it's an indirect technique. We do the lesional stuff, so we take up the bones out of their lesion position and bring them back into place. That is the Sutherland technique. And if we are working in that direction, sometimes muscular aspects can take or keep the bone into this out of place position, and within the bone within the muscle there are some tender points, and the work we have with the tender points is called strain counter strain. It was developed by Jones, and so it's all in the same direction. It's an indirect technique, and we do it with the muscle, strain counter strain, or without the muscle, the original Sutherland or the original still technique called Sutherland technique.
I see. So those two are in the lesion course.
That's in the lesion course. And then we have the rhythmical course, and within the rhythm course, we have more or less all the work of GOT, General Osteopathic Technique. It was developed by John Mark Littlejohn, a direct student of Andrew Taylor Still, and he developed these techniques because he thought that if there are problems within the body, the best way to get to the problems within the body is by applying rhythmical techniques, so rhythmical motion, rhythmical movements, and you can do it both for dysfunctions, but you can also use it for lesions as well. So it is more or less a technique for the dysfunction, but as I said, for lesion as well. And Sutherland, Littlejohn said that because the nervous system is more or less hyperactive or hypoactive according to the problems people have within their body, he used these rhythmical techniques also for the part of the central nerve system to inhibit the central nerve system or to stimulate the nerve system. And so that's it. And then we've got one more aspect, and that's not within the rhythmic, but that is an extra class, and that is the manipulation, the thrust class, where we can have the high velocity specific techniques to manipulate.
So to keep it simple, you kind of fix it, and there is this little crack somewhere in the bones.
There might be a crack, but the crack is not important. It's not about the crack. It's about a high velocity technique to overcome fixations within the tissues around or within the joint, and it's never done at the end. So it's completely risk-free as long as you do osteopathic manipulations.
I have to admit, I'm a bit afraid of these things.
Yeah, most people are, because you've seen perhaps so many videos or heard so many stories about it, having big forces on your body, and the osteopathic way to manipulate is very smooth. It's very quickly, but very smooth. It's never at the end, so there is no risk for, let's say, damaging tissues.
Great.
And that's what we do, and that's very special and very very specific and very interesting, because quite a bit of people only know the more or less chiropractic way, and if we do the original osteopathic way, you can see that it is it's always in the middle of the motion, never at the end of the motion.
Great. All right, Gert. So those 3 courses, we start in muscular. The other 2 are coming also in our offer.
Yeah, and the thrust course. So we have got 4.
Four. Okay. Who should participate in them? Who would you invite? Actually, who would say would benefit most of them?
Well, I would like to invite you all, of course, because everybody who's working with the hands on clients or patients can do the work. Of course. You will have, you must have the legal aspects of working with your hands on patients. But if you have this legal allowance, I think you will all benefit from it because you will help all of your clients and patients to get a better mobility and stability within the joints and within the neuromuscular skeletal structures, including all fascial and connective tissue structures. So I think all of you will benefit from that.
Great. Thank you so much for taking time again for me, Gert.
You're welcome.
Let's go for a dinner. Let's eat something.
Looking forward.
Do you like a local Lithuanian kitchen, or you prefer something classical Italian or whatever?
Well, to be honest, I'm eating almost everything, as long as it's not eating meat.
I see.
But most of the time, I prefer some vegetables, a little bit of meat, and or some fish. That's all fine.
A healthy stuff.
Yes.
Good. So thanks again. And
thank you.
Talk to
Looking
you.
forward.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, looking forward.
Right.